Hi, I'm Rhonda Rex, and welcome to the Campbell County Cooperative Extension Service. Today I want to share with you a plated up Kentucky Proud recipe, and it involves eggplant. It's called Easy Cheesy Eggplant. For the Easy Cheesy Eggplant, you'll need 3 cups cubed eggplant, 2 medium tomatoes sliced, 1 large onion sliced, 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1/4 cup of applesauce, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 8 ounces shredded mozzarella cheese, 1/2 cup whole wheat breadcrumbs, and 2 tablespoons grated Parmesan cheese. And what I do when I start out to make my Easy Cheesy Eggplant, I just want to take, and I'm just using a very small eggplant for today for just showing you how to cut it up, because when I'm in my classes, a lot of times people will ask me, you know, how do I prepare eggplant? You know, I don't have a recipe for it, so that's why I wanted to do this. So I just kind of cut the top of it off. Then I kind of go at the bottom and kind of cut that like that, just so it'll set flat. People are always asking, you know, how do I, you know, do I peel it? Do I use the peeling? Whatever. So that just depends on your recipe. For this recipe, we are going to peel, and sometimes you're going to get in there and that skin's going to be really hard to peel, so you're just going to kind of work with it. I always give my students plenty of time to get their eggplants peeled, so you're just going to kind of get in there and work with it. And I usually just kind of start at half. And that's why I cut it off like this, so you can kind of get some good leverage on it, so you can cut it. But just peel it, half of it, and then when you're done, you want to turn that eggplant around or turn it over, however it's easy, and peel it like that. Sometimes it's very, very hard, so I'll find students maybe peeling it with a knife, and sometimes when they do that, they get a little bit more of the flesh than what they want, and it's kind of a waste. So just kind of be real careful and patient with your eggplant and get it peeled. After I've peeled it, I just cut it into slices like this, and then I just kind of stack those slices up. Okay, kind of move that out of the way so you can see. Stack those slices up and then just kind of cut across like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is just kind of cube it, okay? And then we're just going to turn it like that, and it doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't have to be real, real pretty because it is going to go in a casserole. So that's how I cut the eggplant up in cubes. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move over here and kind of put this in my pan. You can see that my eggplant that I cut earlier, it's already cut up. There's about 3 cups in there. It is starting to get brown, and I'll have students to come to me with their eggplant and say, oh, it's already brown, whatever. That's okay. It is going to start browning very quickly, but it's okay because we're going to go ahead and put it into our recipe, okay? So I'm going to put that in my bowl, my casserole pan from my bowl, okay, and just kind of spread it out. And then what I'll do next, and this is such an easy recipe, I love it because you can have it done in no time. There's not a lot of chopping, as you could see. And then my tomatoes, I'm just going to kind of place those on there, on top. Makes it really pretty. Turn those over to make them really nice and pretty. Okay, so you're just going to slice it. If you wanted to dice your tomatoes up, you certainly could do that. Okay, because it makes it, I have done it the recipe both ways, and it does make it easier for you to get it out of the pan if you do dice your vegetables up or cube them like I did with the eggplant. But this just makes a pretty casserole, and that's why I wanted to do it like this today. Then you're going to take some onions. Okay, you're just going to lay those onions out again. If you want to dice those onions up. Certainly would be easier to eat it that way and to get it out of the pan, but we're just going to lay your onions in there. And if you have extra strips, certainly would not hurt to just kind of put extra strips in there, however much onion you like. Okay? And then we're going to use applesauce. And then I'm going to take a little bit of melted butter, and I've already melted that, gotten it ready. And then I'm just going to kind of mix that together, the applesauce and butter. Okay, I'm going to kind of mix that together and get it all stirred up. We're going to just pour that over our vegetables. And make sure that it gets down in there with our eggplant, so it makes it really nice and juicy. Okay, so we're just going to pour that over. Okay, great. Okay, set that aside. I'm going to take a little bit of salt, just a little bit. If you're on a salt-restricted diet, you could leave this, omit this, of course. Be a little bit more heart healthy and watch the blood pressure. But you just kind of put that salt in there. Okay, and just a little bit. And then the next ingredient, it calls for basil, dried basil. You certainly can use dried basil, that's fine, but I love my fresh basil. You can probably see my plant in the background here. I love my fresh basil, and I've chopped a little bit up. I kind of wanted to show you maybe a technique. It's just a knife technique, cutting technique when you're using leaf vegetables, lettuce. I've done it on Swiss chard. You can just kind of roll that up, and if you can kind of, I just rolled it up like that, and then I'm just going to cut it. And what it'll do is it'll make really nice little slices, okay, little strips. So if you kind of pull that out, it'll make some strips. So it just kind of makes it a little bit easy for you to chew and to eat and everything, and it just makes a pretty presentation as well. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there on top. And I probably used a little bit more than what the recipe calls for, and that's certainly fine because I love basil and I love that smell and the taste of basil. Then I'm going to take a little bit of garlic powder, okay, and just sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder on there, get it even. And it depends again on your taste buds and how you like, if you like garlic, onions, basil, however much you want to put in there. Do have the recipe for you, but know that you can use a little bit more, a little bit less. After you're finished with this step, you want to take and cover it. Okay, aluminum foil. If you're using one of your favorite casserole dishes at home and you have a nice cover for that, so cover it up. Put it in the oven for about 20 minutes. Okay, and then when you take it out, I'm just going to kind of show you what I would do when I took it out. So I've taken it out of the oven, and it's at that stage. I'm going to put some mozzarella cheese on there. Okay, and it calls for about 8 ounces of that. Again, if you like a little bit more, a little bit less, but I'm just going to kind of cover it. But 8 ounces is what it calls for. Cover that. And then you're going to use some breadcrumbs. I've made the recipe both ways where this is store-bought breadcrumbs, and I made it with store-bought breadcrumbs before. I've also made it with where I take my own whole wheat bread and I toast them and make my own breadcrumbs, and it is really nice. And I'm making a mess, but that's okay. It's nice to be messy when you're cooking. So I'm going to kind of just spread that on there, and I'm just trying to get it to where it's real nice and even and not all in one spot. Okay, so that's pretty. And then we're going to do a little Parmesan cheese. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle that on top as well. So we'll just kind of go along, get it on there evenly. And then this is going to go back into the oven. So remember, 20 minutes. And then when the topping, it's going to come out after 20 minutes, and then the topping goes on, it's going to go back in, and there's no need to cover it. You'll go back in the oven for about 10 minutes, okay? And so, of course, I have a finished product, so I will slide over and get that finished product out of the oven. And I had prepared it earlier, so I know that you're seeing that I have aluminum foil on that because I was just trying to keep it warm for us, okay, and keep it nice and so it wouldn't get too brown. So, so there's your finished product. Lay that over there. And that is Easy Cheesy Eggplant. And if you'd like a recipe, call our office at 859-572-2600, or you can go to our website. It's campbell.ca.uky.edu. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me again for another Plated Up Kentucky Proud recipe.